Henfield Haven today is a much-loved centre of community life, run by permanent staff and volunteers with something happening every day. But it wasn't always like this. Until 2014, the building was a day centre for dementia care, operated by the County Council on just 3 days a week. Dedicated staff and volunteers provided a valuable service, caring for vulnerable older people, providing activities and entertainment. But the building was cold, drafty and tired. Few local people even knew of its existence. In February 2014, when the County Council was faced with massive budget cuts, it proposed to close the centre. It took a year for community volunteers to reach an agreement with the Council, creating the business case, setting up a community interest company, leasing the building for a peppercorn rent, transferring staff and sorting pensions. We partnered with a charity that was experienced in providing care for older people, but even then there was a huge amount still to do and the clock was ticking. In March 2015, Henfield Community Partnership mobilised the community and started raising funds. Within a few days, the first volunteers arrived on site to make a start. They were not allowed to go inside the building where care activities continued as normal. But even tidying up the neglected gardens was a sizable task. The aim was to publicise the project by opening the gardens to the public in June for the annual Henfield Gardens and Arts Festival. Time was short. We made it just. People took advantage of the peaceful garden, enjoyed the live music and the homemade refreshments. With a fine display of work by local artists, the festival opening was a success. It raised funds and it raised awareness of what was to come, but now it was time to fix the buildings. In the September, the centre was closed for refurbishment. The weather was dreadful, but the centre had to reopen in mid-November and there was much to do. Windows and doors were replaced with double-glazed units and an efficient new boiler fitted, but it was mid-October before the internal work could begin. The dark old entrance corridor was to be opened up. Walls were taken out, ceilings renewed, wiring changed, alarms reset, Wi-Fi installed. Furniture and equipment had to be moved, and moved again to make way for the renovations. Just in time, the grant came through for the flooring, and on the 3rd of November, the floorers arrived to start work. At the same time, a new kitchen had to be fitted to make a new cafe possible, whilst Henfield Theatre Company provided a team of willing volunteers to repaint the building throughout. The work carried on late into the dark evenings. Fetching donated furniture from as far away as Brighton's Royal Sussex County Hospital proved hard work for some of the volunteers, whilst new cushions and kitchen utensils added finishing touches to the interior. Meanwhile, in the garden, a major redesign was underway. The old bushes were cleared so that new lawns and flower beds could be planted, and the garden group began planting up, which was hard work too. As skips piled high with waste, the deadline was fast approaching. With 1 week to go, the new reception area was still an empty shell, with made-to-measure furniture just arriving. The whole building was being transformed. The craft area became a cafe with a new kitchen. The dingy main room became modern, bright and comfortable. And the old laundry became a quiet room for carers' support. New signs went up with a name chosen by one of the centre's oldest customers, Henfield Haven. and new staff and directors were appointed. The official opening was right on schedule. Dementia care sessions resumed and the cafe opened for business, but all that was only the beginning. Now something could be done about the old standalone garage. Used only for storage, it could be integrated into the main building and put to better use. But we still needed storage space, so sponsorship was secured for a log cabin to be built in the garden. The cabin was to become a backdrop and very useful amenity for many garden events, as well as providing much needed storage space. It freed up the garage to be converted, which gave us a new entrance to the cafe protected from the weather, plus 2 additional clinic rooms to provide extra services. The Haven was buzzing, with meals for community groups, quizzes, clinics, meetings and plenty of fun. The Gardens and Arts Festival became an annual feature, with music and dancing, plant sales and art, crafts and more. By its first anniversary, the Haven was sufficiently established to host a massive fundraising concert in the Henfield Hall. The Elvis Spectacular was to be followed by more brilliant shows each year, including an evening of music from the theatre and an ABBA tribute concert. Whilst behind the scenes, less conspicuous efforts were raising much needed funding for the next phase of the Haven. The workmen were in again, this time extending the cafe to make a versatile garden room. Ready in time for Christmas. The community lunches proved immensely popular, with staff and volunteers joining in the fun. Children from St Peter's School were keen to get involved too, to the obvious delight of the older folk. A team of cycling enthusiasts from the leisure centre joined in the fundraising with a legendary ride to Paris, and a change of status in 2019 allowed the Haven to become a charitable, incorporated organisation in its own right. But when the COVID pandemic struck, the Haven had no choice but to close its doors to customers. Overnight, the Haven transformed into a hub to coordinate the community response. Henfield Helpline organised deliveries of food and medicines, with volunteers taking them to people's doors. Then, at the height of the pandemic, our partnering charity had to withdraw, and for a while the finances of the Haven looked bleak. But with the hard work of staff and volunteers, the financial backing from donors and the support of the parish council, the Haven bounced back. And whilst lockdown was still in place, the achievements of the Henfield Haven were recognised with the prestigious Queen's Award for Voluntary Service, the highest award a voluntary group can receive in the UK. The proper celebration was delayed, but as soon as the lockdown was lifted, dementia care resumed, along with all the other services like osteopathy, podiatry, yoga, heart, Parkinson's and bereavement support. There was music in the garden again, craft and artwork on display at the Gardens and Arts Festival. The Queen's Award was presented in the garden by the Lord Lieutenant of West Sussex. And there was another award to celebrate in 2022, with the chairman of the Haven Trustees gaining a Platinum Champions Award for his contribution as a volunteer during the Queen's Jubilee year. The Haven was buzzing once again, with plants and the garden playing a huge part in the summer months. The attractive gardens have proved a big factor in the success of the Haven, and the garden group has become a permanent fixture, tending the flower beds, caring for nature, helping wildlife, supporting the dementia care, and even reaching out to help people in the community. Staff and volunteers together have made the Haven the warm, friendly place it is today. Friendly and beautiful, whether for enjoyment and celebration or providing essential services. Today's thriving centre offers dementia care on Monday, Wednesday and Friday, a social club on Thursdays, a daily cafe for meals and refreshments, Sunday and Christmas lunches, a variety of clinics, community meetings and opportunities for volunteering. The Henfield Haven today has become a much treasured amenity and a key asset to the village. We can be proud of the Henfield Haven and all that we have achieved together. Here's to the next 10 years.